What's poppin', y'all? How y'all doing today? I'm very much flattered that there had been some people who looked at my leaving Christianity video that I put on YouTube, and I just wanted to say thank you to those individuals. I think the video was like 25 minutes. So if someone, listened to that whole thing, it got to touching on a little bit of my story of why I left Christianity and some of the questions that I had been having, and then some of the, the things that, in the grand scheme of things, they weren't big, huge things, but they were things that definitely bothered me in the beginning of my transition, that I kind of felt wasn't out of love, and I was definitely upset about it. But since then, I've definitely understood that this Christianity religion, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Islam or Christianity, is definitely a difficult thing if you want to walk away from it. I was blessed to come across individuals via Facebook, via YouTube, that had a lot of knowledge that I learned from. Jay-Z, he says Google's your friend. Definitely Google. I would see certain things, and I would take from what I saw on Google and try to get the main source of it, to where I just wasn't finding pieces of information off Google and then just taking that as what it was. I would look at Google and see something interesting, and then I would actually go back to where I can find the origin of it. And I was finding a lot of information that I had never found before. It was it's a challenging thing for a guy like me who can read, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So videos also was a good thing for me, which these videos that I would see, certain things would stick out in them that an individual may be saying, and I would go and I would fact check it, and lo and behold, those things happened to be correct, which affirmed some of my curiosities and some of my being inquisitive, and it actually gave me proof of what is actually going on here with this religion, and why I had all these feelings and questions. With these questions, there were no answers to them. But then I started finding all this new information that was really enlightening, and it made me feel good ultimately. I think I give I think I mentioned him in my last video, but it was a fluke that I had ran across Kevin Wesley. I saw his title in Facebook and it said ex-pastor, and I kind of wanted to know what he was talking about, and there was something in what he was telling me just struck a chord with me for whatever reason. I was actually watching it with my wife, and after the video was done, me and my wife kind of got into a discussion about it, and it did take a little while for me. It was sort of like, you have a rock in your shoe. It's kind of annoying and gnawing at you, and the next thing you know, you just get tired of it, and you just want to take the shoe off and take the rock out. So that's kind of what Kevin Wesley was for me. He was like this rock in my shoe, and I kept thinking back on what he was talking about, And then there was a time when I actually did go on this page. I wanted to figure out, is he an atheist? Does he believe in any type of God, or does he believe that there is no God? I mean, because I didn't know. And to me, an atheist is sort of like a taboo thing. I didn't really understand what atheism is. I thought it was actually like an evil type of thing, where really it's not evil at all. It's just people that don't believe in what we have been programmed to believe in church and in the Bible. And some of the coolest people that I ran into just happen to be atheists. I see all these, the Stairway to Reason videos are very, very in-depth. They teach you a lot. And this guy is really on it as far as the studying that he's done. And he's just openly sharing these studyings and these videos with people for free. So you can get all this information. And even Kevin Wesley, he's got all these different videos on his page that I had been finding that are just free information for people. And basically, what my focus is today is to let people understand that, you have a support system out here. Leaving church can be an extremely emotional situation. For the average person, they might go to church maybe once a week. And they don't have a problem if they happen to miss a week or 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? But they believe in Jesus. They believe in heaven. And they believe that bad people go to hell. Then you also have the people who, when I was young, was, instead of going, once a week, I was going anywhere up to 2 times a week. I would go to church. Then we would have Bible studies. I was part of the choir. So that's another day. That's 3 days. If you happen to be a part of a major auxiliary in the church, that could be 4 days. Pastors and assistant pastors might be in church every day. So if you were doing that for years and years, and all your family is in church, all your friends, are believers in Christianity, and you start finding out different types of information that's making you think about it, and then you ultimately make decisions that maybe, number one, you always start off having questions, and you want to ask questions, and you start figuring that the answers are not satisfying your spirit. And then you start thinking about the fact that it seems like people got something to hide. How come ain't nobody really telling me anything? And they always tell you about not to question God, and you need to have faith. And then they try to make you feel like something's wrong with you for having the questions, and they make you feel like there's something within you that may need to be prayed out. All these different things that a person might go through in their beginning when they first start questioning things, and they don't get those answers, and it becomes something that consumes you, like that rock in your shoe. You try to figure out what's going on, and it's almost like this type of a secret society where you're not being told the things that leads to your satisfaction. So ultimately what you start doing is you start looking into certain things yourself. And when you start looking at these things, like, for instance, I put in my last video that, my first video, rather, that I started questioning the validity of Noah's Ark. That could be something that many of you have. Some people might think, as far as the story about Jesus, how, he died, rose from the dead, and he ascended up to heaven. Some people can look at that story, and when they read that story, when he's ascending up to heaven, there are people who witness this miracle, because that's the only way you can call it. You can witness this miracle, and you may have an inclination of, okay, well, if he did it in the Bible and they say it's true, maybe I should find certain witnesses, people who witnessed this situation, witnessed this miracle. Maybe I can find something that maybe they had documented. And you search. And you search. And you search. And you don't find nothing. And you're wondering why you don't find anything. And when you really start questioning things, and you don't find something for your first subject, then you go to another subject. Okay, how is it that a person can survive in the belly of a huge fish out at sea for 3 days? You know, there's acid in the stomach to break things down. He's at sea, and humans can't breathe in those type of circumstances. And he came out unscathed, and then he went to go preach somewhere. Well, how come I can't find his story outside of this Bible? You know, and then you might have another subject that you go, and it goes on and on and on until you start realizing that, damn, I'm not connecting any dots. All these stories just seem to be exclusive to the Bible, but it's about things that supposedly happen on earth. And because it has the title of Word of God, that it has to be true. And because you were looking at this and you were pretty much confused at this point, then after coming up blank with all these different questions and subjects that you have tried to fact check, but you just did not, then your common sense kicks in. Then you really start thinking, what is real and what is not real? And then that's when, 9 times out of 10, the way the universe goes, the way it works, there's nothing happens on coincidence. Nothing is luck. Nothing just happens out of the blue. Everything is in line for whatever the situation needs. And you start looking, and there's other people who are feeling the same way that you're feeling. But these people seem like when they're making their videos, or if you meet somebody and you happen to talk to them, or you might read someone's post in social media where they have really come out and said, you know what, this shit ain't real. This is not real. It finally clicks to you that, you know what, this is a book of stories and unproven miracles that have happened, and it's the equivalent of a Harry Potter book. That's pretty much what it is. It's fiction. How come if it's true, why ain't they teaching this in school? Why do you have to go to a theological, you know what I mean, a Bible school to learn things about a Bible? If all this stuff is real, why isn't it in every public school? Why is it such a mystery? So what happens is you make that decision. And when you're making this decision, if you were one of those people who go to church 2 or 3 times a week, your family is all into church, all of your friends are Christian, and you want to make this statement, you can either keep it in and have all this information inside of you, and you are still dealing with all these people, knowing what you know. And you might try to make some small conversation, but you don't really go too big for it. But then after a while, you get to a point where you can't continue to lie to yourself. You can't continue to live in a situation where it seems like you are living this lie and you've got this huge thing that you want to get off of your chest. And it seems like the more you are holding it in, the worse that it seems to get. And then you do. And then your friends leave. And then your family turns on you. And let's say you work, and the place where you work, there's a lot of Christians there, your supervisor's there. Then stuff really starts getting weird. It takes in a huge amount of courage, because people who you never would think would attack you or say anything out of the ordinary to you, just because you have now actually did your research and you found out that what you had been following your whole life is more of a story than true facts. This is a very emotional thing for a lot of different people. But there is help. There's support out here, man. You're not going to go to hell just because you are curious and you are brave enough to learn new things. That does not send a person to hell. Hell is a state of mind. So if you're not at peace in your spirit, that is a form of hell. And to continue into something just because everybody else is doing is more of a wear and tear on you as a person than anything. There's so much information out here. There are so many great people out here. I hate to use the term woke, but that's what it is. I mean, you're woke. You were in this cloud for however many years before you started really thinking for yourself. And you got to a point where now you can start to see things clearly. What has helped me is, Kevin Wesley, Ray Hagins, more recently, Charles S. Finch. I started finding his videos. I started getting into hermetics. Started reading the Kabbalion. I actually read the whole Kabbalion. And, you start learning about universal laws, polarity, frequency, vibrations. There are so many things that just in this past year that I've learned that I've probably, however big the Bible is, I've probably circled it a few times, because all this information is such a exhilarating thing. It's such a new thing. I think I mentioned law of attraction, but all these things. Then I started getting into stuff like African spirituality. I started understanding about the winter solstice, the spring equinox. I think that's the word, equinox. I believe that's the word. I could be saying it wrong. Like, I'm not studied up enough to teach the stuff, but I'm informed enough to be able to point you in different directions, and different types of literatures that are extremely helpful to you. And just like you learned all this stuff in the Bible that has been drilled into you, and most people have probably only read anywhere from 20 to 50% of the Bible. I read a nice amount of the Bible. I haven't read the whole thing, but because of audiobooks and whatnot, I would listen to the Bible through my headphones at work, and I would read a large portion of it. So I probably have completed the whole Bible. But the information that is out here is limitless. There's no judging. We're not sinners. We were never born sinners. We were innocent spirits, and the things that we did or didn't do, choices we made, karma. You made one choice, cause and effect. You did one thing, and it affects something else that happens over here. These are things that are alluded to in the Bible in certain ways, but what they try to do is try to put people in the place of metaphors and lessons. And that's how they got the Bible. And also with astrology and astronomy and things of that nature. But I'm here to tell you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And the light represents peace and love. And it is a hard thing to leave Christianity, but if in your heart you have went through the gauntlet of proving that this thing is nothing more than just stories, and I'm getting ate up by these mosquitoes out here. But once you make up your mind that, you know what, I can't do this anymore, I will not do this anymore, and I can't continue to lie to myself, and I can't continue to live this life where I'm supposed to be under the gun of judgment 24/7. And you know, I still have Christian friends on my Facebook page, and I see the anxiety and the things that they go through every other day, posting all these incredible wars that they are going through with Satan, and Satan's on your back, and they saying that, you know, we gonna make it through, we just gotta pray and this, that, and the third. You know what? The only person that's ever gonna save you is you. That's it. That is the only person. Satan don't chase nobody because Satan don't exist. That is anxiety. That is fear. Whenever something bad happens, they say it's the devil. If it's something good, you give the credit to Jesus. Now, if you were going out here and you were busting your ass 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you were getting paid, the last thing you need to be doing when you come in to feed your kids is saying that some mythical figure is over here that gave you the strength to feed your kids, when actually it was your kids that was motivating you, because you know that if you don't eat, they don't eat. If you don't go out there and get this paper, they don't eat. You did that. If you're having a bad day, Satan ain't got nothing to do with that. Sometimes you need to sit and take a break in the middle of your day or in the middle of chaos and breathe for a minute. Another, they don't teach you stuff like meditation. I mean, they might teach you about meditating on Jesus, in the Bible, in church, but they don't teach you that meditation is a cure for anxiety and stress. And if you just take time, sometimes in the middle of a horrible day, to sit and breathe for 5 or 10 minutes, you'll know that, you know what, it's really not that bad. And now that I've collected my thoughts, I can go finish the rest of this day. I can go enjoy this beautiful weather. And if it's raining, I'm still going to enjoy the weather. And if, whatever the case may be, you can think your way out of it. This is what it means to be conscious, is to be thinking. Use critical thinking. This is what you need to learn. And it's not hard. You just got to put the effort in. But it's support out here for you. There's a ton of information. There's a ton of great people that you can get inspiration from. You can learn from. You can be inspired by. And you can, like I said, man, save yourself. So, I just wanted to do that. Went a little bit more longer than I really wanted to go in this video. But it's people out here that's got support for you. There's people out here that got love for you. Definitely it's going to feel like for some people your life is going to be turned upside down. But hey, if you're all the way at the bottom, there's only one other place you can go, and that's up. You get it? So stay encouraged, man. And it's not about a race. It's not about learning everything in one day. It is about being comfortable in your spirit, loving yourself, putting